Tonight, you are 17 years old, standing alone beneath a sky so dark that even the stars seem reluctant to appear. The year is 1294, and a cold wind moves through the stone towers of your lord's castle, carrying the smell of rain, smoke, wet earth, and horses. Mostly horses. Medieval Europe is obsessed with horses. Kings measure wealth through them. Knights trust them more than most people. And entire wars have started because someone stole the wrong one. Somewhere beyond the walls, a church bell echoes through the countryside, while guards pace along the battlements, holding lanterns that sway in the darkness like tiny wandering stars. Most of the castle is asleep, but you are not. Sleep has become difficult ever since you learned what tomorrow brings. By sunrise, your life will change forever. Tomorrow, you become a knight. As a child, you imagined this moment 1,000 different ways. You pictured glory, victory, cheering crowds, and songs sung in your honor. Traveling bards made knighthood sound like a wonderful adventure. They never mentioned the freezing nights, the endless responsibilities, the political backstabbing, or the fact that most knights spend more time dealing with angry nobles than fighting enemies. Reality, like most things in history, is considerably less romantic. The castle around you remains awake despite the late hour. Servants rush through narrow corridors carrying buckets and firewood. Blacksmiths hammer glowing iron deep within the courtyard forge, their rhythmic strikes echoing through the stone walls. Sparks leap into the darkness every few seconds. Clang, clang, clang. Each strike reminds you that tomorrow is coming, whether you are ready or not. You wander slowly through the castle grounds, passing rows of stables filled with sleeping war horses. Massive animals worth more than entire farms. Powerful creatures capable of carrying armored men directly into battle. One day, one of those horses may carry you, assuming you survive long enough to earn one. That is the strange thing about medieval knighthood. Everyone talks endlessly about honor, but very few discuss survival. For years, you have trained for this moment. Long days spent practicing swordsmanship beneath the burning sun. Countless hours riding horses across muddy fields. Endless lessons in combat, strategy, etiquette, religion, and loyalty. Veteran warriors taught you how to fight. Priests taught you how to pray. The noblemen taught you how to behave. Most of them seemed equally disappointed by the results. Yet despite the bruises, the exhaustion, and the endless lectures, you learned something important. The greatest danger facing most knights is not enemy armies. It is other knights. Medieval noble society functions like a family argument that somehow lasted several centuries. Every noble dislikes another noble. Every lord remembers ancient insults. Entire feuds continue because someone's grandfather offended someone else's cousin 40 years earlier during a feast. Human beings, it turns out, are remarkably talented at holding grudges. Dawn finally arrives beneath heavy gray clouds. Trumpets echo through the castle. Servants rush across the courtyard. Nobles gather beneath colorful banners, while priests prepare sacred ceremonies. You are escorted into the chapel where hundreds of candles illuminate ancient stone walls blackened by centuries of smoke. The air smells of incense and melted wax. According to tradition, every future knight must spend hours praying before receiving his sword. It sounds spiritual and meaningful until your knees begin aching against the stone floor. Medieval religion contains many virtues. Comfortable seating is not among them. Time moves slowly inside the chapel. Candle flames flicker. Rain taps softly against stained glass windows. For the first time, fear begins creeping into your thoughts. Not fear of battle, not fear of injury, fear of responsibility. Because once you become a knight, people will depend upon you. Villagers will expect protection. Merchants will seek justice. Soldiers will follow your example. Your family will carry your reputation. Failure will no longer belong only to you. Other people will suffer because of your mistakes. Outside, the ceremony begins. The courtyard fills with nobles, priests, soldiers, and curious spectators. Musicians play while banners snap in the wind. Your lord steps forward carrying a sword polished so brightly it reflects the cloudy sky above. The crowd falls silent as you kneel before him. He speaks about courage, loyalty, honor, and duty. Words repeated countless times across medieval Europe. Words every knight swears to uphold. Then comes the accolade, a ceremonial strike delivered across the side of your face. The crowd cheers, trumpets sound, servants attach golden spurs to your boots. Just like that, your childhood ends. You are now a knight. Officially, legally, permanently. The applause fades quickly. The celebration lasts only a few hours. Reality arrives the following morning. A messenger appears at the castle gates covered in mud from head to toe. His horse looks exhausted. He looks worse. The letter he carries bears your lord's seal, and judging by the expression spreading across the courtyard, the contents cannot be good. Within an hour, servants are preparing supplies. Blacksmiths inspect weapons. Horses are saddled. Soldiers gather beneath banners. Somewhere beyond the forest, trouble is waiting. As a knight, trouble has a remarkable habit of becoming your responsibility. You join the column leaving the castle shortly after sunrise. The road ahead stretches through dense forest and rolling hills covered in mist. Rain begins falling before midday. Not dramatic rain, miserable rain. The sort of rain that soaks through clothing, fills boots with water, and convinces you that the sky personally dislikes you. Hours pass. Mud clings to everything. Horses struggle through narrow trails. Armor grows heavier with every mile. Nobody looks heroic. Nobody looks noble. Everyone looks wet. This is another detail conveniently omitted from most heroic songs. By evening, the company reaches a small village surrounded by wooden fences. Smoke rises from damaged buildings. Several houses have burned. Livestock is missing. Villagers gather nervously as your lord dismounts. Bandits attacked 2 nights earlier. 3 people were killed. Supplies stolen. Travelers robbed. Witnesses claim the attackers fled into nearby forests. Suddenly, your first mission as a knight becomes painfully real. No tournaments, no glory, no cheering crowds, just frightened villagers staring at armed strangers and hoping somebody can help. That night, while rain continues falling beyond the village walls, you sit beside a campfire listening to veterans discuss the situation. Some believe the attackers are common thieves. Others suspect deserters from a nearby war. One old soldier remains silent until finally speaking. "The dangerous men are never the ones carrying banners," he says quietly. "The dangerous men are the ones nobody sees coming." The fire crackles softly. Wind rattles nearby trees. Somewhere in the darkness beyond the village, hidden among endless forests and shadows, unknown enemies are watching, and without realizing it, your first true adventure as a knight has already begun. The rain continues through most of the night, drumming against wooden rooftops and turning the narrow village streets into rivers of mud. Sleep comes slowly, not because the ground is uncomfortable, although it certainly is, but because your mind refuses to rest. Only yesterday, you were dreaming about becoming a knight. Tonight, you're surrounded by frightened villagers, armed soldiers, and stories about raiders hiding somewhere beyond the darkness. Reality has arrived much faster than expected. Before sunrise, a horn echoes across the camp. Men groan, horses snort. The fire has long since died, leaving only damp ashes behind. You pull yourself to your feet and immediately discover that sleeping in armor is every bit as miserable as veteran soldiers claimed. Your back hurts, your shoulders ache, your boots are still wet. Medieval warfare, you are beginning to suspect, is primarily an elaborate system designed to make everyone uncomfortable. By dawn, the company is moving again. Tracks discovered near the village lead into a vast forest stretching across the hills like a dark green ocean. Ancient trees block much of the sunlight. Thick mist hangs between their trunks. Every sound seems louder here. Every snapped branch feels suspicious. The veterans ride cautiously, hands resting near sword hilts. Nobody speaks much. Forests possess a strange reputation during the Middle Ages. They are places where laws become weaker and dangers become stronger. Bandits hide there. Outlaws disappear there. Entire groups of armed men can vanish beneath the trees and remain unseen for weeks. To most peasants, forests are less a location and more a collection of nightmares. Hours pass as the company follows faint tracks deeper into the wilderness. Broken branches, disturbed mud, hoofprints, signs of recent movement. The trail grows clearer. Whoever attacked the village passed this way recently. Around midday, one of the scouts returns at full speed. His face tells the story before he even speaks. He found them, not far ahead. The company immediately dismounts and advances carefully through the trees. Your heart pounds harder with every step. This is no tournament, no training exercise, no practice field. For the first time in your life, real danger stands somewhere ahead, waiting for you. Eventually, the forest opens into a clearing. Below, hidden among the trees, sits a rough camp. Tents made from stolen cloth. Horses tied to wooden posts. Armed men moving between campfires. There are more of them than expected. Far more, at least 50, perhaps 60. Some wear pieces. Of old military equipment. Others carry weapons taken from dead soldiers. They are not ordinary thieves. They are deserters. Men who survived wars and discovered crime pays better than loyalty. Your lord studies the camp silently before issuing orders. The attack will begin immediately. Surprise is your only advantage. The soldiers prepare quietly. Swords leave scabbards. Shields are raised. Bows are readied. Suddenly, everything feels very real. Your mouth becomes dry. Your hands feel strangely heavy. Every terrifying story you ever heard about battle returns at once. Then the signal comes. A hunting horn shatters the silence. Archers release arrows. Men begin shouting. Horses panic. The peaceful forest explodes into chaos. The charge happens so quickly, your mind struggles to keep pace. One moment, you are standing among trees. The next, you are running downhill toward armed strangers who seem equally determined to survive. Training takes over. Instinct takes over. Fear disappears beneath pure action. Steel clashes against steel. Men scream. Shields collide. The sounds are overwhelming. Nothing resembles the stories told by traveling bards. There is no elegance, no glory, only confusion. Dust rises from the ground. Horses break loose and thunder through the camp. Someone crashes into you from the side. Another man swings a weapon wildly. The world shrinks to a few feet in every direction. Somewhere nearby, your Lord's banner remains visible above the chaos. You remember the lessons drilled into you since childhood. Stay with the banner. Stay with your unit. Stay alive. Minutes later, the battle ends almost as suddenly as it began. The deserters break and flee. Some surrender. Others vanish into the forest. The camp belongs to your company. Breathing heavily, you look around at the aftermath. Broken wagons, scattered supplies, damaged tents, injured men lying in the mud. Victory does not feel the way you imagined. Nobody is celebrating. Nobody is cheering. The veterans simply begin helping the wounded and gathering prisoners. For them, this is routine. Another day. Another fight. Another reminder that war is rarely heroic when viewed up close. That evening, the company discovers something troubling among the captured supplies. Letters. Official letters carrying noble seals. At first, nobody understands their significance. Then the truth emerges. The deserters were receiving support from someone. Someone wealthy. Someone powerful. Someone inside the kingdom itself. Suddenly, the village attack becomes part of something larger. Much larger. Back at the castle, the news spreads quickly. Councils are called. Messengers ride day and night. Noble families begin accusing one another. Old rivalries reignite. New suspicions appear. The kingdom's fragile peace starts cracking beneath the weight of secrets. As for you, life changes quickly after the battle. Word spreads that you fought well. Veterans treat you differently now. Not as a boy pretending to be a knight, but as a knight who has survived his first real test. Yet the praise feels strange, because you know the truth. You know how frightened you were. You know how close everything came to disaster. More importantly, you now understand something many people never learn. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward despite it. Weeks pass. Summer begins replacing spring. The roads dry. Trade resumes. Villages recover. On the surface, peace returns. Yet beneath that peace, something dangerous is growing. Reports arrive from distant regions describing increased raids, missing caravans, and armed groups moving through the countryside. More troubling still, several noble lords have begun gathering private armies larger than usual. Officially, they claim it is for protection. Unofficially, nobody believes them. One evening, your lord summons you privately. The meeting takes place inside a tower chamber overlooking the surrounding lands. Sunset paints the horizon red. Maps cover a large wooden table. Several names are marked with ink circles. Noble families, castles, trade routes, potential enemies. Your lord studies the map for a long moment before speaking. The kingdom is changing, he says quietly. And when kingdoms change, men become ambitious. He points toward the northern frontier. A powerful noble known for his wealth and influence has stopped answering royal summons. Taxes remain unpaid. Messengers have disappeared. Rumors suggest he may be preparing open rebellion. If true, civil war could follow. The room falls silent. Outside, the sun slowly disappears beyond distant hills. Shadows stretch across the map like dark fingers. For the first time since becoming a knight, you realize the greatest battles may not come from foreign enemies at all. They may come from within the kingdom itself. And somewhere beyond the northern frontier, hidden behind castle walls and noble titles, a storm is gathering. A storm that will soon pull you into a conflict far larger than bandits, far larger than village raids, and far more dangerous than anything you have faced before. The age of simple adventures is ending. The age of politics, betrayal, and war is about to begin. And although you cannot see it yet, the choices made during the coming months will determine not only your,